Hi guys, my name is Sophia and today I'm going to be showing you guys a competition makeup tutorial. So if you're interested to see how I achieved this competition makeup look, then keep watching. Okay, so first things first, I always like to start off my face makeup with some type of primer. Really, it's just whatever primer works best for you and your skin. So I'm just going to put that all over my whole face before I put on my foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and put on all of my foundation, and I like to apply my foundation with a beauty blender, and I just put the foundation right on there and then I just blend it all out, but you could use a brush, whatever is your preference. Pro tip, if you get a spray tan before cheerleading competitions, definitely get a foundation that matches your spray tan color, not your normal foundation color, because that way everything will blend a lot better, and you always want to blend going down the neck. Okay, now that we have our foundation on, I'm going to use some concealer, and I normally like to put concealer directly under my eyes in kind of like a triangle shape, and I put that under each one of my eyes, and then obviously just like anywhere that I feel needs a little extra coverage. And then we're going to blend it out with the same beauty blender or brush, whatever works for you. Next, I'm going to take some translucent setting powder that I just dumped into the cap right here, and I'm going to take that powder on my beauty blender again, and I'm just going to tap that powder all over my face to set the foundation and concealer. Once again, you can also use a brush if you prefer to do that. Now once I have all that set, I'm going to take some bronzer, and I'm just going to put a ton of bronzer on a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to apply that along my lower cheekbones on both sides, kind of starting with the ear and bringing it down towards my mouth. And I do that on both sides, and then I'm going to do the same thing on my forehead just to kind of bring some bronzer and life to my face. Something that I personally like to do to really emphasize my contour is I'll go in with more bronzer but on a smaller like angled brush like this, and I'll just put some on and I'll kind of go over the same areas that I just put bronzer on, but I'll kind of define it a little bit more just to make it a little bit sharper so that you can definitely tell that there's a contour there. And I'll go over the exact same areas that I went with the normal bronzer. Next, I'm gonna take some blush, and I'm just gonna put that right on the apples of my cheeks. Next, I'm gonna take some highlighter, and I'm gonna actually put some highlighter on my brush, and something that I like to do to really make sure that my highlight stands out and really like pops is I'll put the highlighter on my brush, and then once it's on the brush, I'll take a setting spray or just like any type of like prep and set or whatever setting spray if you have any, and I'll just spray the brush a little bit because it makes the highlight really stand out a lot more on your face. And then I just apply it right over my cheekbones. That's pretty much it for face makeup, so now I'm going to move on to eyebrows. So for me, the way that I do my eyebrows is I'll kind of just take an eyebrow powder, any kind of powder that I have that works with like my eyebrow color, and I'll shade them in, and then I'll take an eyebrow pencil and I'll outline them. So I'm taking a little bit of eyebrow powder on an angled brush like this, and I'm just taking some powder, putting it on that brush, and then I'm going to shade in my eyebrows. Personally, I think that it's easiest to do this by just following your natural eyebrow shape and kind of going along the shape that you have and just filling in everything that's in between that shape, if that makes sense. Okay, so now that my eyebrows are filled in with the powder, I'm gonna use an eyebrow pencil and I'm just gonna kind of outline my eyebrows just to really define them a little bit more. Now that my eyebrows are completely filled in and defined, I'm gonna take some eyebrow gel and just gel them down into place so that they don't move. Now that my eyebrows are done, I'm gonna move on to the eye makeup. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is put some eyeshadow primer on my eyes. The primer that I use has a little bit of like gold glitter in it already, but you can honestly use whichever primer works best for you. I feel like primer is a really important step before you apply your eyeshadow because it'll keep your eyeshadow from creasing. Okay, so now that I have the eyeshadow primer all over my eyes, I'm going to start applying the eyeshadow. Something that I really like to do before I start applying my eyeshadow is I like to take some of the same translucent powder that I used earlier and I take the flat part of this beauty blender and I'll take some of that powder and just press it into the outer corner of my eye between my eye and my eyebrow to create this like sharp line so that when I do apply my eyeshadow, once I wipe the powder away, it'll create a nice clean cut look for my eyeshadow. I know a lot of people like to use tape, so you can definitely use tape as an alternative if you'd rather do that. Okay, now that I look crazy, let's start with the eyeshadow. So I'll be using one of my favorite dark brown eyeshadow colors, but if you have the Top Gun eyeshadow palette, then you can definitely dip into the dark brown from there. That one's fantastic too. So I'm just dipping into a dark brown and I'm gonna start by tapping that brown color into the outer corner of my eye, just like that. And I'm gonna kind of brush it in a V shape, kind of like a V formation, so that it starts creating kind of a cat eye effect. And I'm just gonna keep on tapping that in and blending that right in to my outer corner. If you have the tape or the powder here, you can see how it's already starting to create that straight line, which is exactly what we want because it makes it look super nice and clean cut. I normally like to take this up about halfway through my eyelid, just so that it creates a nice brown, like smoky eye effect. Honestly, it's all about the blending. Same thing on the other eye. Next, I'm gonna take a lighter brown shade, which again, if you're using a Top Gun palette, you can just use that lighter brown shade that's next to the dark brown, but I'm just gonna take a random lighter shade of brown that is almost equivalent to that color, and I'm going to use that to blend this dark brown to my inner corner right here. If some of the dark brown comes with it, that's totally fine, We're just using this to blend everything together. Okay, now that we've blended our outer corner into our inner corner, we're gonna move on to the lid. A trick that I like to do when applying the eyelid color, which we're gonna be using a light gold color, which again, if you're using the Top Gun palette, you can just go in with the gold color that's in there. I'm gonna be using my favorite shade of gold eyeshadow, which is very similar in the color. So what I personally like to do is I like to take the concealer that I have, which any concealer works, and I'll just put a little bit of that on the back of my hand, just like this. And I'll take a little concealer brush, and looking down, I'll actually apply some of that concealer onto my eyelid and then immediately put on my eyeshadow, because it'll really make that eyeshadow pop more. You can totally skip that step. You don't have to put the concealer or anything, but I really like how it makes my eyeshadow stand out when I do that. So that's how I'm gonna be putting on my eyeshadow. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that concealer from the back of my hand, and I'm gonna make sure to be looking down when I'm applying it, and I'm literally putting it all over my eyelid. And then I'm gonna take my shade of gold eyeshadow and put that all over my eyelid. And now I'm gonna do the exact same thing on my other eye. So now that I've finished the eyeshadow makeup, I'm gonna take a powder brush and I'm just gonna dust away all this powder that we have under our eyes. And as you can see, it creates a nice line from where our powder was, and our eyeshadow looks nice and clean now. Okay, so next step is winged liner. I always like to apply a wing when I do my eyeliner, but you don't have to do that. So I'm just gonna take an eyeliner that I have, and I'm gonna apply it directly onto my eyelash line right above it. And I'm just gonna trace my lash line with the eyeliner. In order to create the wing, I personally like to just stamp a line from where my eye meets, like in the corner of my eye, and I'll stamp a line from there up to where I want my wing to finish, so it'll kind of be like right around there. And then I'll make sure that line is nice and straight going back down to the corner of my eye, and then I'll just connect it in like a triangle shape to the rest of my eyeliner. So as you can see, there's literally a triangle of eyeliner in my eye. And then we're going to make sure that the line connects, and then we'll color in that triangle. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other eye. Now that I have applied my eyeliner, I'm going to curl my eyelashes using an eyelash curler, and I'm going to apply my mascara. I highly recommend applying mascara before you put on fake lashes. So once I have my mascara on, I'm actually gonna wait on fake lashes, and I'm actually gonna do my bottom liner. So I like to do two different steps for my bottom liner. I'll take a super tiny angled brush, kind of like the one that we used for our eyebrows earlier, and I'll take the same exact dark brown that I used in the outer corner of my eyeshadow, and I'll line my whole waterline with that. So I'll take that dark brown and I'll kind of just stamp it along my waterline. And now I'll actually take a white eyeliner and I'll apply that on my actual waterline. I feel like this really helps make your eyes stand out and pop a lot, and it makes them look a little bit bigger, which is great, especially when we're on stage for competitions. I also sometimes like to use black eyeliner in my waterline, so it's really just whichever you prefer. Okay, so now that I have finished my bottom lash eyeliner, I'm gonna take some mascara and I'm just gonna apply that onto my lower lashes. Okay, so now that I have finished my eye makeup, my face makeup, and everything like that, I'm going to apply my fake lashes. And I know that this is a part that can get kind of tricky for some people, so I'm gonna go step by step exactly how I apply my own fake lashes. So I'm gonna start by taking the fake lash and I'm gonna apply some of my eyelash glue on there. I don't put too much, I just line the strip where you apply the lash with eyelash glue, and that's it. I don't put a ton of coats of the glue on it because that can actually make it harder for the eyelash to stay on your eye. So I just put a nice thin coat, make sure that the adhesive strip is completely covered with glue, and then I wait about 20 to 30 seconds. I let it dry a little bit. I don't want it to be completely wet when I apply it onto my eye. So I make sure that it's slightly dry before I apply it. And then when I do apply it, I make sure that I'm looking down. My eyes aren't closed, but I'm looking down into a mirror, and I apply it while I'm looking down. And then I'll kind of just place it right where I want it, and then I'll just make sure that all the corners are pushed down exactly where I want them to be. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing with the other eyelash. And now once I have my fake eyelashes on, I'm going to take my eyelash curler and I'm gonna curl my real eyelashes and my fake eyelashes together. Now that my fake eyelashes are done, all that's left to put on is my lipstick. So I'm gonna put on my red lipstick and I'll see you guys when I'm done. And finally, once we have our lipstick on, the very last step is to take some setting spray and just set all of that makeup right into place. That is it for this makeup tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned and check out the other activities that we have planned for Top Gun athletes and cheerleaders from all over the globe. Bye!